Hey guys, it's great. We're here with the Titan Minion build, the giant man wearing a dress. And what you're about to see is my best record so far for killing Xesht. We do it in 3 hits. Usually with my Infernalist, it's always taken me 4, and I tried it with the same gear. Switching the gear back and forth, min-maxing all the same gear, and you get more DPS per minion with the Titan. Obviously, it has its own drawbacks with defense or whatever, but if you're after big hits and a lot of damage, the Titan's where it's at. We even take him into fighting the Arbiter with Reavers, so we can get more Reavers per, efficiency of damage for each one. And we also make some changes with some support gems. Big shout out to Raw Striker for pointing out a really sick support gem change. We'll go into it in this video. I'll cover the gear, the changes, and all the stuff leading into the DPS that I think is really good with the Titan. So let's talk about the Titan. So let's go over the minions first. We just saw the video of 3-shotting Xesht. Now, if you look at the Titan, right, my minions maximum increased damage right here is 400%. That's a big difference. Now, depending on what jewels you have, if you have, 50% increased damage, you could be higher. But this is just based off of the passive skill tree. On the Witch, I believe it's 340, so around, what is that, 70% more? 60 to 70% more increased damage just on passive skill points. And then more minion life. So if you look at the base attack, it's at 106. The Witch is at 88. 88k DPS. This is 106 per minion. Now you have less spirit, so you can only have so many minions, but each minion is just hitting like a truck. And then there's more critical hit chance. So because of hulking form giving me more critical hit chance, I could slot different jewels. But for the comparison, we're using the same jewels, same gear, same everything. So with the same budget, your minions hit harder on the Titan because of hulking form, which could be beneficial for leveling when you don't have obviously the best gear. So you're taking advantage of the passive skill points. So buff, if you look at it, these guys are rocking 287%. That is a lot. I'm sure you can get this up to 300k, with just rare sapphire jewels, nothing special. If you had just a different set of sapphire jewels in there. I rock crit hit chance and critical damage bonus because with Eye of Winter, it's the best way to go. It's the most damage. So the other thing I want to talk about too is you can do this with any minion build when you're slotting for the support gems. I decided to include Lightning Infusion because one of the viewers, Raw Striker, talked about it. Lightning Infusion is better than Brutality, and it actually is. I checked it on POB. And you get more actual damage if you just straight up slot in Lightning Infusion instead of Brutality. Now it's gonna look less on the minion sheet DPS, right? It's at 283 instead of 287. But if you look at the difference, right, it was 287 with Brutality, and now it's 283 with Lightning Infusion. That's only a difference of 4k DPS. And if Shock lands, that's a 20% multiplier on top of the DPS that's being calculated on the minion and on the skill and on the passive tree. So with that said, that's kind of how we got this idea of trying to 3-shot Xesht, because my record for killing Xesht has always been 4 hits. So we got it down to 3 shots by stacking using combination of Lightning Infusion and Brutality. So instead we just had one Reaver applying shock and armor breaking. And if you look at the video, we'll watch it again. I'll have it played in the end. Xesht's armor immediately breaks and immediately gets shocked. Now, if you add conduction on here, the shock chance of Lightning Infusion is 20%. 100% more chance to shock. That 20% becomes 30% chance to shock. So that's really good. Actually, no, sorry. What did I say? 20%, 100% more chance to shock. So it should say 40, right? If this is 20%. But I checked it on POB, it says 35. I don't know what the calculation is, but that's what it is. We'll take a look at the POB after just to kind of show it. So this is the strat, right? We have one skeletal Reaver minion applying these debuffs, breaking armor, and applying shock. And then with the Brutality multiplier, all this damage coming in. So it's kind of a good strat for bossing with minions. If you have a spare minions, using your extra spirit to have like a spare Reaver, just to break armor and put on shock, while your main DD minions have Brutality, stuff like that. It's a really good way to do it. If you're leveling, For leveling, I think I'm going to actually slot in Lightning Infusion for leveling over Brutality. So this should help with voltaic mark. Voltaic mark, this also increases the shock chance, 50% more chance to shock, right? So if you have conduction, which is doing increasing by 100%, and then another 50% more chance to shock, you should have, you know, on hit over 50% chance to shock. And if you increase the quality on this gem 20%, your shock has an increased 45% increased effect on marked enemy. So your 20% chance to shock is actually 29% with the lightning infusion. So that's actually pretty good for leveling. You know, you're fighting a boss, you have 10 minions, each attacking, each always applying shock. You'll put on voltaic mark. It's actually more damage than going straight on full physical snipers. And on top of that too, with the passive skill point, you get your 8% chaos damage because of this. So you're also getting more chaos damage on top of that 8% of your physical damage, whatever you know that calculation is. So it's pretty good. I think this is the better set now for leveling. You know, take off this Fire Master, you put on Fork, and you'll have Lightning Infusion in place of Brutality. Let's look at the POB. So right here, I have the POB open. If you go on Configuration, you can put on Shock. So effective Shock, the maximum value for Shock is 29. So effective Shock, and then you can put in Critical Weakness as well, which is 20 stacks. So you can see the DPS change. If you look down here, this is my Sniper Minion right there. That's for one of them. So if I take off Critical Weakness, full stacks of Eye of Winter, we're getting 363k DPS for one of them. Without Eye of Winter, just a 17% crit, it's at 209. So that goes to show the power of Eye of Winter's full stacks, adding into your DPS. And then Shock as well. I didn't even put it on. See, that Shock boost goes up 70k. So having the Shock versus Brutality is actually better. So let's go show that. If I put on Brutality on my minion, hold on, let's go right here. It'll go into here. So I actually have Brutality on right now. This is set up for if I had another minion adding Shock and then Brutality. So maximum damage. But if we just had... Wait, let's put it back actually, just to look at it. Brutality, right? Then we go to Configuration. Let's take the Shock off. So this is how much the minion would be doing with just the Brutality pure physical. 209k, right? And then if we go in here, take Brutality off, we'll put on Lightning Infusion. So here's Lightning Infusion. Lightning Infusion's at 181 before Shock, right? So you're running around, not applying Shock, you're doing 181. But when you find those rare monsters or the ones that are hard to die, and you add Shock, you're at 234. So it's more increased damage. It's not by much, it looks like. It's about, let me see, what was that? 234, right? Let's take off the Shock. Put Brutality back on there. 209. So it's 234. Let me bust out the calculator. Right, what is the increase in damage of Lightning Infusion versus Brutality? So it's 234 with Shock, right? Subtract that from 209. That gives you this, 25. So 25k difference. So it's 25. What percentage of 25 is 209? Divided by 209 times 100. Lightning Infusion on rares that have Shock afflicted with max quality on the Shock of 29%, you get around a 12% increased damage, right? So we'll see how it plays. I'm going to try it leveling, see if it's good, or is it better just to have 12% less damage? This will probably really shine on rares and bosses and stuff like that. Now the kicker is, if you can get Brutality on there and Shock, like another minion to apply Shock, then we're going to 270. So we do that math, right? 270 minus 209. 270 minus 209. 61. Divide that by 209. Oops. Right? Times 100. So that's a 30% increased damage if you can keep Brutality on and then have another minion administer Shock. So you could say, you know, use a storm Storm Mage, but Storm Mages, I mean, it costs a lot to increase shock. So instead, put Lightning Infusion. Especially if you even had something like a Rattling Scepter, right, on a boss. Put Lightning Infusion on your 2 warriors with conduction. So that way they'll have a higher chance of shock, and there's 2 of them hitting. So that's a better way to be more efficient with your spirit and to maximize just as much damage as you can get for bossing. So big shout out to Raw Striker for giving us the big tips on Lightning Infusion. So make it better for bossing and for leveling. Now I want to go into and cover the gear just to kind of show you. Right? Same stuff that I've been using for I don't know how many videos now. This is my same DPS gear. We're using the Boots of Valir to max out just as many minions as we can get. And this is the passive tree for the Titan, right? Hulking form is pretty much the only thing that's good. You can get this max life and half a percent regen. But we're taking all of these nodes, all these guys. And I'm only level 90. I'm not level 96. You could take these shield nodes. I'm sure if you took these shield nodes, you'd have quite a bit of energy shield, right? So here we're taking all these guys, and then you have to path this way and take these guys too. And then this is what the passive tree looks like, coming down here and getting all these. So I'm using all the same gear on my Infernalist to do the comparison. And yeah, the big man in the big dress with the big hits. So let's look at the witches minions, right? If we go over here, we'll look at the sniper minions. And if you look at the minion info, keep in mind everything's the same. All the gear is the same. All the jewels the same. The only difference is the passive skill tree with hulking form. And look at the minions deal increased damage. It's only 329. On the Titan, it's 414. So it's quite a big difference. Quite a big difference in increased damage, even with increased minion life. So all those small nodes being 50% make actually a pretty good sized difference on the Titan. If we go over here to basic attack, each one is doing 85k DPS. Whereas on the Titan, it was 108. It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit. Now, I will say, you know, to leverage out and average out the DPS, the Infernalist has more spirit, so you have more minions. So it levels out. The damage is pretty much even in the end. When I did the calculation, it's about 9.1 million DPS with my Infernalist, with the Boots of Valir, because I can get 33 minions. So what's really the big, you know, difference for the Titan, really? I mean, it's easier to get higher damage with the Titan just based off of only using the passive skill tree. So that's nice for leveling, you know? Would you go out and level 1 on the side? You could. I could see the use for it for bossing. It was kind of fun running Reavers through Arbiter +4 just because the Reavers body blocks, so you can only have so many Reavers around him. So might as well capitalize on the maximum damage that you could have. Kind of a specialty character. But the Titan was pretty surprising. It was pretty fun. Something that you could look into if you wanted to level a Titan. And as far as the Titan versus the Gemling, the way I look at things, I tend to level mostly around DPS instead of survivability. And for sure, the Gemling has more survivability because of their ascendancy. That they can get just crazy amounts of energy shield. The Titan can't get as much energy shield. They're only gonna get energy shield based on 50% increase of these small nodes. And their overall energy shield will be higher than the Infernalist, but the Infernalist has the advantage of obviously having the dog and altered flesh to increase their, you know, effective HP. So if you're just looking for pure damage, raw damage, the Titan's easier. It's easier to get that higher DPS count, especially if you're using a lot of the small nodes. It might not be, it might not make any difference if, say, you're playing like an adorned version that doesn't use any small nodes and you're just stacking gems. Then obviously, either the other classes will be better, either the Infernalist or the Gemling, if that's what you want to do. But I'd say it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun messing around with the Titan and playing with him. Leveling with it, using it for bossing. It's kind of fun little side character to use if you want to have something to play. Now, if I was making a new character, I wouldn't start off with a Titan or a Gemling. I'd definitely go with an Infernalist first if you're playing a minion build and you just wanted to play a minion build. The other two classes are more like secondary characters that you would level up, and then you're interested in doing some type of specific build with them. The Infernalist still has the best flexibility for like hybrid builds and stuff like that. Like if you're trying to do a Queen of the Forest or some other type of hybrid build, you get the most DPS because of how the structure of their passive tree works and stuff like that. And you just get more spirit to be more flexible with. All right, third test. Man, if we kill Xesht in 3 hits, that's the new record. This is really close. We're getting really close to killing him with 3 hits. I'm wondering if we can do it on the Infernalist, because the Infernalist just has more minions. So I wonder if we can do it now. But then I don't know. I have to think about that. I was planning to do like a side-by-side anyway. But with this one, we're going to do Brutality on the snipers, and the Reaver is going to apply Shock. Then we'll stack on the voltaic mark. That'll give us 26%. And we'll go from there. We should be good. And I have enough keystone fragments to fight the Arbiter twice. Because it's expensive. To fight the Arbiter is about 5 to 6 divines. So I went and Citadel hunted for about an hour and a half yesterday.
Come here.
Big man in a dress. Oh. You know what's funny is if you have the Ferrodin floating skin, it's harder to aim to aim leap slam on controller. Oh, what the fuck? Okay. Like, as weird as that sounds. Alright, cool. We're here.
A rarity and all mine.
Make sure we got all the stuff set out. Fire mastery. Take this off. Put on the boots. Shit, what am I doing? Here, okay. All right, so yeah, 104k DPS per sniper. Cool. This guy, armor break, lightning infusion. All right, party time. We just have to hit an Eye of Winter and a voltaic mark right at the right time. This is exciting. Okay, come on, come on, guys, position. Get in your places. Oh, was that 3 hits? I think that was 3 hits. Okay. No Hawa? No Hawa. We're gonna try this out. These are the Reavers. The Reavers are doing... They're level 39. Buffed, these guys are doing an insane amount of damage. 187 times 2. If I'm standing next to them. Is it 187? Dang, 217. So 217 times 2. It's like 430... 438. And there's 26 of them. So if you're actually hitting everybody, 438 times 26, it's 11 million DPS. But for 100%, we're going to get body blocked. So we're not going to get all the Reavers attacking. We're using the Titan because the Titan can get maximum amount of damage with Reavers. Because you're limited to how many Reavers that can surround the Arbiter, we're going to use the Titan to maximize the damage that each Reaver can get. And then if he starts doing like mechanics, we're gonna log out because we're moving super slow. And I don't want to deal with that.
I will finish this.
Yeah, get right up on him.
Late. The fourth edict old and burns for you.
There's a shock. Ooh,
Your affliction upon her
that was pretty tight.
will soon be placed.
That was really good. And he's dead. It took a while for the shock to go down. I don't know why. But that was good. Ooh, Grand Regalia. Okay, tight. Not bad. Not bad. I think that was good. That was good. Oh shit. Okay.